Among the extraordinary collections of the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library at Yale is this handmade alphabet book. This manuscript comes from the Ottoman capital, Istanbul, and it was made in the middle of the 19th century. At this time, Turkish was written with a version of the Arabic alphabet written from right to left, and this book, intended for a child, shows how to connect each letter of the alphabet to every other letter in a systematic way. So we first have a page with individual letters, then pages with letter combinations. So in this case, on the left-hand side, you can see AS, BS, TS, and so on. The last 4 pages that follow these series of graphemes feature not only letter fragments, but also prayers in Arabic. These are the prayers that are recited for Salat, a daily Muslim prayer ritual. So the book teaches how to write and connect letters, as well as providing some elementary religious knowledge suited for a young child. The first spread of the manuscript is its most embellished. It is gilded and decorated with intertwining scrolls, floral bouquets, ribbons, and leaves rendered in vibrant hues of pink, blue, purple, and green, as you can see here. This decoration frames a grid of 30 ovals at the center of these 2 pages, with a heading area on top. This style of page decoration later came to be known as the Ottoman Baroque. Enclosed within the ovals are the letters of the Arabic alphabet, neatly written underneath a brief prayer. So the prayer is right here at the very beginning. And it reads, "O Lord, make things easy and do not make them difficult. O Lord, make everything come out well." This prayer is typical to recite before taking on a learning activity or a calligraphic exercise, so it is well placed here. The subsequent 29 pages of the manuscript are adorned in the same idiom, but in a relatively muted way. So you can still see that the margins of the book are decorated with these gold leaves, and this black part was originally untarnished silver. And how about the use of such a book? Just as we noted the book's rich decorations, we may also note the lack of marks and traces we might expect from the textbook of a young child. These, in fact, were ceremonial objects, not textbooks. The handmade alphabet books were given to children on the day they started school. For regular Istanbulites, a procession of older school children, led by the teacher, would go around the neighborhood, and then the young student would join the procession and would be given an alphabet book in time to receive his or first lesson on the alphabet. Depending on how well off the child's family was, sweets and foods would be given, served at the end of the ceremony. There are 3 alphabet books similar to this one at the Topkapı Palace Library in Istanbul. One of the books in the royal collection was made for a princess. For Ottoman princes and princesses, the procession consisted of state officials, but the practice of surrendering the child to his or her teacher along with the presentation of the alphabet book, that practice was the same. Girls and boys, royal and common, had an initiation ceremony for their first day of school, although of course who attended the event and what kinds of sweets were given at the end differed. This alphabet book is dated and signed on its last page. The date is 1269, which is 1852 to 53 in Common Era, and the scribe who made this book is Mehmet Şefik. So you can see his name Mehmet Şefik here and the date right next to it. So Mehmet Şefik, the scribe, lived between 1819 and 80. He taught calligraphy for decades to state officials at the Sultan's office, in addition to working as a clerk at the Imperial State Council of State. So he was a scribe of the highest office. Mehmet Şefik's connection to the Ottoman state is also evident from one of his architectural commissions. Following an 1855 earthquake, the Great Mosque in Bursa, the former Ottoman capital, was damaged. And for the restoration of this site, Mehmet Şefik was dispatched from Istanbul to repair the inscriptions on site. And here you see the gates to the former Ministry of War. This is currently the gate to Istanbul University, and the sign was Mehmet Şefik's work. So Mehmet Şefik worked both in the intimate medium of a handmade book and in monumental epigraphy. Given how richly decorated this book is and the career of its maker, we can safely assume that this particular book was intended for the child of someone with connections to the Ottoman imperial state. So this method in this book of teaching writing favors literacy for the Quran in Arabic over literacy in Turkish. Even as new methods developed for teaching reading and writing, and as printed alphabet books grew in numbers over handmade ones, the ceremonies that these alphabet books accompanied continued to welcome generations of children to their first day of school.